Welcome to another episode of the Sports Bros Podcast, featuring the Almighty B Live, the Money Man Scottie D, and your host, the head of creative, Eddy Kool. And without any further ado, let's give it up for the Sports Bros. Hey, what's going on, world? This be your boy, the HOC, the head of creative here at your favorite sports podcast, none other than the Sports Bros Podcast. Man, it feels good to be back. I'm up here in Northeast Ohio. It's starting to get a little chilly outside. I was this close to putting the heater on, but not quite yet. I got that thick Carolina blood in me. You know what I'm saying? So therefore, it ain't time to cut the heater on just yet. Welcome to another episode of the Sports Bros Podcast, number 77. Who's the famous number 77? Chris Jenkins, Paul Coffey, and Ray Bork. Off the head. 3 straight 77s. With that being said, he's back. One of 2 co-hosts. The one, the only, big money grip, let me hold something, the almighty B-Line.
Yo, have you missed me? Have you missed me? Oh, it feels so good to be back. Man, they trying to work me to death over there, that job, that boy. But I digress just a little bit because I always like to ask, what's happening? What's going on in the world today? And man, oh man, it's a lot. And I'm apologize ahead of time. To the listeners of the podcast, I'm going to go ahead and apologize ahead of time. If you just so happen to be an Atlanta Falcons fan, go ahead and just wait until next week. Just you know what? Turn this off now. Wait until next week because y'all about to get that work. Just saying. Just go ahead and pre-warn you. And for those that are Dallas Cowboys fans, this would be the opportunity for you to take the horseshoe out your ass. Speaking of horseshoe up the ass, you can go ahead and introduce that other guy on the podcast and everything. It's all good. Yes, sir.
The one, the only, pride of Washington, Pennsylvania, Mr. Excitement, Electricity himself, because his Cowboys win. The one, the only, the Money Man, Scottie D.
Woo! Woo!
Ric Flair. He is.
Man, I tell you, lots of drama on Sunday in the world of sports. Lots of drama. And guys, I'm excited to do the podcast because all day I felt like a teacher who couldn't wait to talk to her students. I am ready to educate you guys today.
Who signed up for this class where he
about the drama in the world of sports this weekend?
Well, with that being said, we gonna dive right into it. A whole lot happened in the world of sports. We got the NBA Conference Finals, the Stanley Cup Finals. The Big Ten says, "Yeah, we're gonna bring football back." What else happened? LeBron, he 38 hot about the MVP voting, and then last night, Sunday night, The Last Dance, they won an Emmy, just like I said. I was right about it. You know what? I'm right about that. I said that. And then we got the U.S. Open. But what we're going to talk about right now is week 2 of the NFL season. Football is back. Oh, it is back. Yes, like bad breath in the morning. But if you're a 49ers fan, I feel bad for you because they started dropping like flies. So let's go ahead and get this out the way first. Of course, there was a lot of significant injuries that happened this past Sunday. It's official that Saquon Barkley of the Giants, he tore his ACL. He's done for the season. Cortland Sutton, wide receiver for the Denver Broncos, he also tore his ACL too. He is also done for the season. Christian McCaffrey, he suffered an ankle injury at the end of the Panthers game. He's been listed as out for anywhere between 4 to 6 weeks. Major blow for the Panthers. Jimmy Garoppolo, Another 49er, he's a quarterback. He suffered a high ankle sprain. He might miss some time. Solomon Thomas and Raheem Mostert, they also left the game to Nick Bosa. He also tore his ACL and got hurt. Meanwhile, in Los Angeles, the Chargers, Justin Herbert got to start. Why? Because Tyrod Taylor got a chest injury in pregame warmups. I don't know. And Broncos quarterback Drew Lock, he exited the game with a shoulder injury. They say it's pretty severe. We don't know how long it's going to be out. Fellas, did we kind of see this come up without any OTAs in practice?
Yeah, this is the unfortunate side effect of the world that we live in, and the risks that are involved with bringing back the game that we love. It's just the reps, getting your body in shape to handle such a workload that is the NFL. And it's one of those things. These guys are professionals, and they get paid the money that they get paid for a reason, because it is definitely high risk to play this game. I want to take this moment though. A moment of silence for all of the fantasy football owners that suffered losses this week, because this hurt. I got Mostert on 2 of my leagues, and I'm over here because he lit it up. He started off strong. The first play of the game I think the recorded speed was 23.6 miles per hour, 80-yard touchdown run, first play of the game.
Oh, he fast.
Yeah. Oh, he's a track star. And yeah, I was at work. I saw that breakout run, and I'm like, oh, man. Oh, they in trouble this week. Oh, especially in our own fantasy football league, because I got Mostert. And I was facing my cuz, Chief Master Sergeant of the world, Craig.
World.
My boy Lorenzo, yeah, he went down. He lost. He took an L this week. Guess what? That's what happens when I get time on the podcast, baby. But I digress.
You digress. Yep.
It's gonna be something else. Raheem Mostert, get better, please. All right, and all the other guys that I don't have on my teams, y'all get better too.
Yeah, we hate to see these guys get hurt. Scottie D, how you feel about all these injuries in week 2? It was like they dropping like flies, man.
Yeah, there's another big one for CJ Uzoma of the Bengals, a tight end. That's a guy who's just starting to establish a little rapport with Joe Burrow. That happened on that Thursday night game. I absolutely, you know that in all sports, injuries are going to be part of the game. But man, I absolutely hate when these poor guys go down with that ACL injury or an Achilles injury. That just robs them of the season. Some of these other things, you come back from, you may miss a few weeks here and there, but especially at the beginning of the season, these guys, people always give them a lot of grief for how much money they make, but they still put in a lot of hard work and time to have their bodies prepared for the season. And the frustrating thing is that when you get like Blake Jarwin of the Cowboys last week, he tore his ACL out for the season in a non-contact situation. He was just turning to plant and make a move up the field. Didn't even have the ball. I just hate the ACL injury more than anything in sports. I hate it for those guys. I don't know that conditioning or anything would, I'm sure it some of these injuries could be affected by some lack of conditioning because you get a little bit tired and maybe aren't as sharp. But some of these things they're just going to happen, and that's the unfortunate part of football. So yeah, that hurts. I hate to see it. Obviously, Barkley being a Giant is a divisional rival, but you don't like seeing that. I enjoy watching Saquon Barkley burst out into the open field, and I'm hoping that he, is able to be himself. More and more these days because of modern medical technology. These guys are able to come back a little bit better than they were.
All right, so what else happened week 2 in the NFL? Thursday night, the Browns got a win. Yep, and Tom Brady, as a member of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, he got his first win. The 49ers beat up and all. They beat the Jets. The Titans do what they do. The Ravens did what they did as well, too. The Cardinals, they also get a dub as well, too. But the game that we want to talk about right now that meant the most is the Cowboys and the Falcons.
The win is a win, and there's no coming. But do you really feel confident about your season, sir? I want to ask you that question. As a Cowboys fan, do you feel confident, a little bit more confident about your season?
Do you question that strategy of Mike McCarthy on Sunday? Did you see how the Falcons had the Super Bowl one against the Patriots a few years ago with the big lead, and then they squandered it? That's what McCarthy was going for. Give them the big lead, give them the early turnovers, and then we'll come back. Mike McCarthy is a
I was
genius.
waiting on it.
No,
Yeah, me too.
I hated what I saw on Sunday. I hate what I see. What I'm seeing on the field in the first 2 weeks, and it's a small sample size, it feels like the large sample size from last year. It still has the feel of the Jason Garrett team from a year ago. The defense can't get off the field.
Oh, boy.
And Mike McCarthy, he's a goof. He's a goof. Have you seen this stat line before? 0 for 2 in fake punts from your own 35-yard line in one single game. That happened Sunday. That's real. that really happened. I don't know. The Cowboys late in the game are down 15 points, and they score a touchdown. They need the ball twice. If you kick the extra point, he goes for 2, and they don't get it. Why? Why would you do that? Because then you get the ball back, and now you're forced to have to get it twice instead of just one opportunity to tie the game. Now, I understand you're going to need the 2-point conversion either way, but in your right mind, you do it right then and put yourself behind the 8 ball, or do you kick the extra point, cut the lead to 8, and now you get the ball back, maybe you have a chance to tie. I didn't like that strategy. Obviously, the story of the day was the onside kick. But what was overlooked a lot was after the Cowboys got the ball back, down 3, they threw a pass to CeeDee Lamb, who burst down to whatever it was, 30-yard line. So they're on the brink of field goal range. They're looking at about a 48, 49-yarder. They ran 2 plays, very conservative run plays. Now Atlanta's defense was completely worn out. They've been chasing the Cowboys around the whole fourth quarter. Why you don't think it's a good idea to maybe get a better, more aggressive approach to get a better shot for your kicker? This is a field goal kicker, Greg the Leg, who got cut by a team a year ago and missed his first field goal attempt of the season. You don't necessarily have the greatest confidence in him at that point. Fortunately, he made it and erased all that, but I just don't like what I'm seeing from McCarthy early here, man. And I know that he brought in Mike Nolan to run the defense, but this Cowboys defense, they're not getting any stops. It's going to be a problem. They're going to Seattle this week, and they're not coming out of there with a win. Not with the way that defense is playing. And Dak had very, very good numbers on Sunday. A lot of that had to do with playing from behind and having to air it out in the third and fourth quarter. The offensive line is in bad shape. They're all banged up. Tyron Smith misses a game again. But yeah, the Cowboys, as a Cowboy fan, and I don't want to make this entire show about the Cowboys. I mean, we could, but just to cut it short here, I'm not really. That's
why we keep you around.
To be quite honest,
because for the first time ever on this podcast, you were honest about the Cowboys, because you was 16-0 just a month ago, and they should easily be 0-2.
Easily be 0-2.
Easily, they should be 0-2. Because as you spoke about their defense, atrocious, a travesty, a bad situation,
abomination,
terrible, or as Charles Barkley would say, terrible. Terrible.
Yeah, there's no pass rush to be had. They lost Vander Esch, who's supposed to be, really this is supposed to be where he's entering his prime. Jalen Smith, to me, is not looking. He hasn't looked the part that I was expecting him to. When he was coming out of Notre Dame, everyone was declaring this guy could be like the next Ray Lewis type of player, and you're not seeing that out of him. He's good, but he's not great at this point. And DeMarcus Lawrence is nowhere to be seen. It's just the defensive backs are they're being asked to cover a lot longer, and they're not up to that task. So there's no pass rush. In the NFL, you have to get pass rush.
They're letting Wilson cook. They're letting Russ cook. He
Oh
cooking in
yeah.
the kitchen.
Oh yeah. But yeah, don't discredit Atlanta though. I mean, you're talking about Matt Ryan, Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley, Hayden Hurst. They got talent on the offensive side of the ball, so you better get a pass rush. You saw it, but man, oh man, typical Atlanta Falcon fashion, they give up a big lead in the fourth quarter. They were down 15 with 5 minutes to go. I mean, they were up by 15 with 5 minutes to go. This game is over. How? What? And I'm gonna save the rest of my comments because I'm gonna save it for later because everybody that's involved, you're getting called out. They did everything. Dallas did everything.
They turned. How many times did they turn the ball over? 3 times. How in the hell you gonna turn the ball? That's
3 times in the first 5 minutes.
Over and over again, it is crucial that you get points off of turnovers. Because see, if the Falcons would have did that, the game would have been out of reach, and the Cowboys would have been playing just to play.
The game was out of reach.
Would have been further out of reach. All the way out of reach.
You're up 15 with 5 minutes to go, and like Scottie D emphasized, as opposed to kicking the extra point, they went for 2 and missed it, so they had to get the ball twice, and you still allowed them to make that happen. Atlanta, I'm gonna say this, and I'm apologize ahead of time because it might be sensitive to some people, but this is the best way I can put it. Atlanta, just kill yourself.
Oh God!
Why? But I'm sorry. You know what? Yeah, I'm gonna save it for the end. Yeah. This is extra spicy. This pepper that's gonna come up in the second segment of this show. Oh boy. You would be for the listeners that catch the first 15 minutes of the show and then sort of might lose a little traction with us. Oh, you're gonna want to hear this because there's a part 2 to this. Eddy, Kool, go ahead and do what you got to do. Amtrak this thing real quick. Boy, I'm woohoo. Yes, sir.
Because you chomping at the bit. All right, so there we go. That's the week 2 of the NFL. I'll tell you what, man. How about DeAndre Hopkins? 20 receptions in the first 2 games with his new team with the Cardinals. And then also in the NFC West, we got Russell Wilson cooking, big time cooking. Hey, dangerous. They don't call him Russell. They call him Russ. His capitalized RUSS. Has he ever gotten MVP votes at all?
He's been in the conversation a couple times, but this is his year. This is absolutely his year.
He's the early favorite out of the gate. Now, Aaron Rodgers has looked incredible as well. Mahomes has looked pretty good. You know, that it's a long way to go. But, I mean, Russell Wilson, he threw 5 touchdowns to 5 different guys, I think, on Sunday. The week before, he threw like 3 or 4 incomplete passes on, 35 to 40 attempts, something like. I mean, he's locked in, man. He's not making mistakes. The big mistake on Sunday night came on a pass that went through his receiver's hands that resulted in a pick 6 at the beginning of the game. But again, that's a pass that could have been caught by his receiver. He's just not messing up, man. He has got such a high football IQ that he knows when to pull it down, when to run, when to get down, not take hits. I mean, he's the total package right now.
And his final night stats were he was 21 for 28 for 288 yards and 5 touchdowns. Very, not too many mistakes. It's just get the ball from one place to the other without any mistakes. Meanwhile, on the New England side of things, Cam Newton, he went 30 for 44. He passed for 397 yards with a touchdown and an INT, and they end overhead failed attempt and a quarterback sneak to win the game in the final closing moments of the fourth quarter. Cam looks good. Cam looks impressive. Cam he looks relaxed. He looks good. He looks at home in that situation. So
I don't like it.
I mean, be live at this point, man. It is what it is, man. We got to move on, and we don't
I'm
stop.
a support my dude.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna say this right now, as a diehard Panthers fan, if y'all don't get y'all together, Matt Rule, let me tell you, I hope you somehow you hear this piece right here. Who in the entire hell, you're in field goal range, mind you. You're in field. It would have been a 56-yard field goal. Kickers have one job in the NFL. Everybody should have a kicker on their team that can kick a 56-yard field goal, or at least try to. But no, you literally line up in punt formation to run a fake punt.
And they know what it is too.
Everybody could have seen that.
Tampa Bay knew what it was.
There's Pee-wee teams that knew what that play was going to be. What? Who?
Yeah. Tank for Trevor, man. Look,
Trevor.
You don't pay a quarterback 3 years, $63 million.
It's a brilliant strategy
to get another quarterback. If that was the case, we should have signed Cam for one more year. What are you doing?
In the driver's seat. All right, that's
Tank
it
for Trevor, baby.
I don't know if Carolina's in the driver's seat. They're not good.
Oh, we stink, man. We stink.
But there's some teams out there that
yeah.
I'm gonna tell you right now, the Jets look awful.
Atrocious.
They look god awful. There's no hope, or prayer, or wish, or anything for them. Like just, I mean, Philadelphia looks.
They look mixed up
bad.
for sure.
JR, where you at?
They look bad, like this. And then the football team, Joe Gaffigan, I'm gonna say this: which team are we getting? Is it because Arizona beat them up and down the field? But see, this you could tell the three of us love football.
Yep.
So because we could talk about this forever. But Matt Rule, Joe Brady, get it together. And I'm gonna say this real quick. Cam Newton, a quick stat. The New England Patriots on offense had 464 yards of offense. Cam Newton was directly responsible for 444 of those 464 yards.
That sounds familiar.
But we don't want to.
He needed two more to win though, and unfortunately, everybody knew he was going to try that run play at the end of the game. Everybody in America knew he was going to try to run.
That's week 2 in the books. We gonna talk about the NBA real quick, man. The conference finals.
Right.
The Heat, they lead the series 2-1, and over in the West, they lead. Yes, they being the Lakers 2-0 against the Denver Nuggets. Fellas, the Eastern Conference Finals was unexpected, and this Western Conference Finals, 5 games. You say 4? It's gonna go to 4 games, 5 games. What you got?
I'm not going to count the Nuggets out because of what I've seen them do, being down 3-1 twice and coming back to win. And the second one was especially impressive because a lot of people had the Clippers penciled in for the finals. I just think the Lakers right now are clicking, which is amazing because when they first entered the bubble down there, they didn't look so hot. You remember we were talking about how at one point I think they were under 500 in the regular season bubble games to finish up, and they have found what they were looking for, and it's that groove that they were in right before the COVID break. And to me, it seems like they're using Anthony Davis in the manner in which he needs to be used, and that is run the offense through him. Now, I wasn't planning on seeing him shoot a 3-pointer on Sunday night to win the game. That was a pleasant surprise. But, man, I tell you what, considering this guy has not had big playoff opportunities and big moments in the past, that was a pretty nice one. That shows you he's got the mindset of winning a championship. So looks to me like the Lakers they're definitely in the driver's seat. It's going to be hard for Denver to match up with the length of the Lakers. And now Rondo's back kind of in the groove, and he's got that playoff experience. So I'm going to say Denver's got enough to come back on
couple
LA.
points I'd like to make. Anthony Davis forgot how big he was.
He real big.
Because when he made that game-winning shot, and when he went to jump up and cleared half the bench, celebrating, dude fell back like 10 feet. But yeah, on top, just man, that right there, that shot right there. I'm not gonna count the Nuggets out, but that's the type of play right there that takes your heart.
Mm-hmm.
It takes your heart, and that's something I want to mention. I applaud the resiliency of the Celtics, because I thought that's what happened to them when Bam blocked that Jason Tatum dunk. I was like,
what a play! Oh, what a play!
But yeah, man, that right there, I was like, yo, that is a grown man block, and I'm talking about big time. But this right here is the epitome of playoff basketball, and I absolutely love it. Right now, everything's changed, what it is and how it is right now. I put the Heat in the finals with the Lakers, but here's something I'm going to go ahead and mention ahead of time. Whoever makes it out of the Eastern Conference, I really give them a solid shot. That both teams are really freaking doing damage. I think just the way the chemistry is between Miami and Boston. Boston suffered those first two losses because Kemba Walker has been up and down. He's been struggling a little bit, but he picked it up, and they finally put the pieces together in Game 3 and showed everybody who Boston really is. I mean, they have so many so many pieces to a puzzle that Boston is dangerous. Miami's already shown how dangerous they are. I'm calling them Jimmy Buckets, because Jimmy Butler is playing otherworldly right now. He's playing with a determination that I've never seen him play with before. So I'm just like, man, I'm so excited about it. And I think whoever makes it out of the East, I'm picking Miami. I just feel like they have I think they still have that edge. I'm picking Miami. I'm picking LA. But I have no doubt in my mind that the NBA Finals goes 7 games. I think it's going to be as JR would like to say, a slobber knocker. I'm so excited for it.
That's a fire.
I'm so excited for it. I'm loving what I see when it comes to NBA.
Scottie D, who you picking to go to the finals? The Lakers and Heat, Celtics. Who you got?
I love that catch by Michael Gallup on the sideline late.
Jesus H. Christ.
Anyway, get back to. Am I picking the I picked the Lakers to win the whole thing to start. I'm not going to give up on the Celtics just yet. They had, the little bit of a meltdown. They were in the first couple games. They had that little meltdown and then a team reconciliation kind of thing. So that gives them the boost. Yep. Lakers Celtics would be awesome. That's been old school. Yeah. So that would be kind of cool. And to see them in the bubble with no fans, where you're just digging in deep and you're relying on your own emotions and not having the fans carry you at any point. You don't get those referee influenced calls by the fans, all that. That I could see that being really interesting, but I'm not taking anything away from the Heat because they've been amazing. They're I saw a report where these guys, they haven't, during the bubble, they haven't been mingling with other teams. They've stayed off the elevators when other guys from other teams are on the elevators. They're just, they want to have that us against the world mentality. So that's really, really going to be interesting to see how that series comes down between the Heat and Celtics. But yeah, I got to stay with the Lakers.
I'm put some spice on this. Because is it Eric Spoelstra? He's still the coach of the Heat, correct?
Yep, still there.
Who would know LeBron better than Eric Spoelstra?
Ooh, that completely slipped my mind. Oh man, nice little caveat there. Yeah,
I just thought about that. I'm like, LeBron James returns to, and here's another thing. The bubble's in Florida. So it's almost like a home game, but it really with no fans there. It's just this little something. There's something in there as well. But the fact that LeBron James brought 2 championships to Miami and now is poised to take one away from them.
Ooh. Some full circle kind of stuff. Be live, baby. Adam Cole, don't get me. Moving on to
Welcome
the
back,
NHL, we got the Stanley Cup Finals. We got the Dallas Stars and the Tampa Bay Lightning. There's supposed to be a game tonight at the time of recording, but as of right now, the Stars lead the series 1-0. So did not expect Dallas to be here. And Tampa Bay, they're looking down the barrel of the gun already. Again. Like, what's really going on, man? What's really going on? Hopefully, Tampa Bay can get it together, man. Get it together and bring it back to the Eastern Conference and one more championship for the South in one of the most non-conventional hockey cities, Tampa Bay, Florida. This will be their second cup since their second cup and their first since 2004, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, they actually, if I'm not mistaken, they won the Stanley Cup the year before the NHL took the break. Remember, the NHL had a work stoppage.
Sir, don't.
They were like
don't do that.
They were like the champions.
The Hurricanes won the next year.
I was about to say, don't you dare do that. No, little buddy, they were not the champions for 2 years. The Hurricanes won in 2005 in a shortened season.
Yeah, they started late. It was a late start.
Yeah, that's what it was. Is that after Tampa Bay won it in 2004, there was a whole work stoppage, holdout, et cetera, et cetera. So I think they only played like 55 games, but the Hurricanes won the Stanley Cup the following season.
Okay.
Yeah, but right. So don't do that. Don't do that.
Hell no. Hell no.
Congratulations.
We won't go. All right, Stanley Cup Finals. Move right along. Scottie D gonna talk to us about the U.S. Open, right? Quick, fast. Scottie D, what do we see with the U.S. Open?
Well, last week I made 2 predictions. It's always hard to pick a winner of a golf tournament or even like a Daytona 500 because there's so many guys in the field. I picked Jon Rahm, and he did not come through. My other prediction was correct, and it really wasn't that hard to predict, and that was that Tiger was going to miss the cut. Tiger and Phil went out there and just absolutely just blew up. I mean, Phil he just had an unbelievable Thursday. He was never in it. But Bryson DeChambeau came out on top. And, last year in October, Bryson DeChambeau said, next year you're going to see a different version of me. I'm going to come back. You're not even going to recognize me. I'm going to be bigger and stronger and hit the ball further. And he did come back that way. And then when the COVID hit, he took that opportunity to really bulk himself up. His driving average went from like 300 yards to 322 yards. And at first, I wasn't too keen on his style of play of how he came back from that. I even remember telling you guys I didn't think he was going to win a major this year because if you remember, he had a tournament earlier in the summer where he hit the ball left and then he was hitting off a hillside, hitting into a yard. He was under a fence. He had a 10. I just thought this guy was going to be too erratic. But to be able to pull that off, that type of play, and it just shows you the hard work that he put in. He bulked up, but he didn't lose any flexibility or his shot making. He took up the regime that Brooks Koepka, DJ, Tiger, some of these other guys, on the tour, they've bulked up over the years. But for DeChambeau to go out and put together, I think the best round of Saturday and the best round of Sunday, much deserved. And I have to tip my cap to him because he took that power and he harnessed it. And he hit enough fairways and made enough shots and made some outstanding putts. And he was able to come back from whatever it was on Sunday, 2 or 3 shots to begin the day behind Matthew Wolff. And DeChambeau is a much deserving champion. Like I said, I wasn't crazy about what I saw from him first coming out of the COVID break, but to see him go out and put together 4 solid rounds like that.
LeBron James, hear this very well. You are not the MVP of your own team. You're not the most valuable person on your own team. So how do you think you're the most valuable player in the league? Let's just think about that real quick. Yes, you put up some stats. Yes, you're a facilitator of sorts. but the best player on your team is Anthony Davis. And you should be able to see that clear as day right now, that when Anthony Davis, if you're running the offense through Anthony Davis, you win. Why is that so hard to see, LeBron James? Wow.
Let me ask you a question, B Live, while you're in mid rant. The Lakers have a better chance of winning if AD's out there and LeBron is not, or if LeBron's out there and AD is not. I'm talking like a full game or a full series. If you took one of the two off the floor, not
you're
on the
taking
team
a player
anymore,
out.
Which team has a better chance of winning? AD with that team?
You only get one.
LeBron
You only get one of the two. Anthony Davis.
That's what I'm saying. You only get one of the.
Of course you would. Of course you would.
Yeah, I have to disagree. No, I'm not a big LeBron fan, but when he came back from this season after, the injury last year, he was carrying the Lakers early as AD was getting acclimated, and when they came back, to the bubble, LeBron's the one that's making that team go. Now, the smart move is to run the team through Anthony Davis. No question
without
about
AD,
it.
the Lakers
But
are home.
without LeBron,
we can make that argument all day. That's what I'm saying. You told me to take one of them away. Who has a better chance of winning? And and I picked the wrong one, of course. Anyway, you can see when LeBron James is facilitating the team and running the offense through LeBron, or when you're running the offense through Anthony Davis. They're a better team when they run the offense through Anthony Davis. So how am I wrong? Say, please explain that to me.
How is he wrong?
Because LeBron is still the engine that runs that team.
All right.
So there you go. So I'm right on that one again.
The one time
so let's move on to the next topic.
Politics into this podcast. Then half of America is wrong. But I'm not going to do it. There's no way I can't do it. So you're right, because 16 people voted for LeBron James and people didn't vote for Anthony Davis. Those 16 people are wrong. And a lot of the people that voted are wrong. I'm right. Somebody's got to convince me in an incredible fashion that Anthony Davis is not the best player on the Lakers right now. LeBron James got mad that somebody compared him to Scottie Pippen right now in his role with the Los Angeles Lakers. And it's absolute fact. Was it Jay Anthony that said that?
Jay Williams.
Jay Williams, yeah.
Hey, somebody got to be Batman. Somebody got to be Robin. That's how you look at it.
What exactly is LeBron trying to accomplish right now? Please, somebody tell me. Again, this man has all the accolades in the world. The only thing he doesn't have right now is a finals winning record. He's 3-6, and he's walking around like a prepubescent, pissed off little child because he didn't get an MVP award. How selfish is that?
Did you see the full interview? Did you see the whole all the way to the end?
I ain't seen nothing. I just don't like.
That's why you're using the word prepubescent, which very good. I'm very impressed with that. But he after he said what he said about being a little pissed off was his words. He then said, "Guys, just don't get it twisted. I'm good. We just won game 1, and that's my goal, is to win the championship. And I'm gonna sleep well tonight. I'm gonna have me a glass of wine and relax. I'm over it." But his initial reaction was,
as a
really, I only got that many.
You didn't win an award, an individual award, and your response is, "Oh, I'm pissed." You at no point in time did he congratulate Giannis at all? I know he did.
You don't think Michael Jordan was irked whenever they were giving MVPs to Malone or Barkley or any of those other guys, David Robinson? You don't think that irked Michael Jordan a little bit?
When you're sitting in the interview process, what? What type of edge are you looking for right now in the interview? Yeah, I'm pissed. Giannis isn't as good as me. What are you trying to accomplish? LeBron James has done this all his career. This doesn't even surprise me. It started with a decision. That's when I lost respect for him.
Oh, boy. Here we go.
The thing about it is that I'm not taking nothing away from this man's God-given talent. This dude is phenomenal at the game. Like, just his His IQ, his vision is otherworldly. So I want to make sure I emphasize that I'm not your typical LeBron hater. That's not me at all. I respect this man's game. The dude is phenomenal. He's a phenomenal basketball player. But for the love of God, why?
And with that being said, hey, yo, Button, hit it.
And now, our favorite part of the show, the choices of the voices.
Once again, thank you to the wonderful and ever so lovely Miss Button for introducing our favorite segment of the show. You heard the woman, the choices of the voices. If it's 77 episodes in and you don't understand it's our favorite portion of the show, keep listening. I was going to say something smart, but keep listening because we love you for it, each and every bit of it. Kind of short this week, fellas, but we still going to have some fun with this one. Scottie D, hit us in the face with the question. Well, not literally.
All right. I asked our listeners which of these NFL records did they find to be most impressive, and that was Peyton Manning, who in 2013 with the Broncos threw for 5,477 passing yards. LaDainian Tomlinson in 2006 rushed for 28 touchdowns with the Chargers. Or last year, Michael Thomas of the Saints, he pulled in 149 receptions in one season. And I guess nobody was too impressed. We didn't have a whole lot of people that responded to, but we did have a couple. So, Eddy, Kool, let's get to it. See what we got here.
Let's get right into it. Trey Dizzle, he never fails us. Here we go. He says Peyton Manning's record with the passing yards. He said anybody can be the focal point of an offense and get lucky on a bunch of 1-yard touchdown runs or be the only wide receiver on the team with a great Hall of Fame quarterback and catch a bunch of short passes. Interesting point. But for Peyton Manning, one of the best QBs of all time, to put up that many yards passing on a team that prior to him being there was putrid on offense at his age with a bad net, and to do it on the second team is amazing. Although 28 rushing touchdowns will be the toughest record to beat since the NFL is so pass happy nowadays, Manning's was the most impressive record because of his situation, which was the question.
Okay.
Trey Dizzle, I was thinking the same thing too. I'm like, with Peyton Manning and what he had going on, man, it's just kind of like what he had against him and then what he did, and then he took the proverbial he made lemonades out of a bunch of big old lemons, but he made the most of it. So pretty good answer. All right, moving right along, we got Joe Gaffigan. I don't know if you got. I watched the replay today of the Washington football team game, and the announcer called him the red thing. Yeah, he did that, and I was like, it's just a force of habit. It takes time.
Yeah,
just like the Chargers moving back and forth. Some people still say San Diego, but by next year, everybody will say LA. All right, Joe Gaffigan, he said Peyton Manning. Didn't give us the reasons why, but Trey do really emphasize that for us. So Peyton Manning, well, we get it. Monique Adams, she says LaDainian Tomlinson. And then she asked a friend, and her friend said Peyton Manning. So from the looks of it, everybody said Peyton Manning.
Yeah, I was actually leaning towards Michael Thomas's record for the reason that he had to get open 149 times, have the pass come his way 149 times, and pull it in 149 times. There's more variables. I was speaking to my friend Joel Turner. He's also an agent for several NFL players. Initially, he kind of pulled me off of that by saying Tomlinson because the 28 touchdowns put points on the board, and I hadn't really thought that. So okay, that's actually a very unique well, it's not unique. It's right under our nose. But, getting the points on the board is super impressive. And then we started talking about how Peyton Manning's 2013 season thrown for 5,477 yards. Also, and I didn't actually add this into the question, but he also threw for 55 touchdowns to only 10 interceptions that season.
Ooh.
And did it at age 37 on his second team. So, After going through all that, that's got to be my answer too, just because of what an incredibly impressive season that was for Peyton Manning. That's the season that ended with the Broncos actually getting beat up pretty good by the Seahawks in the Super Bowl. But as far as that regular season went, that's going to be my answer. What say you, Be Live?
Very, very, very interesting argument you have there, sir. And I there's a lot of points that I do agree with you on that. Peyton Manning, see, here's where I would have been more inclined to pick Peyton Manning. The question was, were you more impressed with his yardage?
Right.
I would have been more impressed with his touchdowns. That's what gets me. But his yardage, I guarantee you, within the next 2 to 3 years, it'll get that record will go down.
Patrick Mahomes will have that record.
That's something like that. That's and here's the thing. That does not state the fact that it's not impressive, but out of the three, I think the 5,000, 5,500 yard range will easily be taken down. I think Michael Thomas.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. It's most in reach from the other two.
Yeah, Michael Thomas catching 146 passes. Hey, he's not going to catch that this year. Unfortunately, got injured a little bit. Be all right. I think that's within reach. Like I'll put a pin on it right now because Eddy Kool talked about it earlier in the podcast. There's already a player right now on track to do that, and I think he's got the talent to do so, and that's DeAndre Hopkins. He's on pace to get 160.
Mm-hmm. Easy.
So, and I mean, just the way that offense is designed there, man, I think DeAndre Hopkins is just D-Hop, nuke. That dude is that dude. So it goes down to the definition of impressive. And I think running the ball, putting that thing in the end zone when you know that this is what they're going to do. They're going to stack the box because the hardest thing to do in all of football, the hardest thing to do is to score in the red zone. Mm-hmm. You take such a big field and now you've condensed it to a 20 to 30 yard range. And to run the ball that many times, punching it in the end zone. Yes, it could be. Yes, Trey Dizzle, you said 1 yard runs is not that impressive, but to do it 28 times. And that's something I don't see being reached ever. So that's why that's the most impressive. LaDainian Tomlinson, 28 times in the end zone. I got a quick question because I think we also talked about, didn't Sean Alexander also have 28 touchdowns?
I think he had 27, and Tomlinson broke his record.
So, but yeah, I don't see the way the style of the game, the way it's going. I don't see that being possible because now your running backs are more designed to be dual threat. Like the big hulking running backs are a thing of the past. I mean, besides the likes of like Derrick Henry. But they're asking more from running backs, and also, like I said, we talked about it before, tight ends, where they're looking for tight ends that are receivers. They're looking for running backs that are receivers because of the design of the game. So you're looking for more speedsters. You're looking for more people that can hit the edge, and that's why that rushing record is probably the hardest to obtain, and therefore my answer for most impressive.
All right, very well said. I like it.
Let's see. I kind of bounce back and forth between that passing record, mainly because I said, I'm like, you know what? Drew Brees has passed for 5,000 yards 4 times. So, as you said, that record will probably fall, if not this year, the next 2 years. And then, as we both stated, like I said flat out, I'm like, you know what? At this rate, DeAndre Hopkins in 2 games has 20 receptions. 20 in 2 games. And if he keeps it up, as the Almighty B-Lab said, 160, 165. Put a pin on that one. So that just might fall this year. You know, I reckon might fall this year, barring any health or injury circumstances. As we know, this is a pass-happy league. Okay, just imagine, like I said earlier, look how many people we had quarterbacks passing for 5,000 yards within the last 7 to 8 years. Patrick Mahomes was the last to do it. You remember that one year there was Tom Brady, Ben Roethlisberger, Matt Stafford, and Drew Brees all did it like within like what 1 year or something like that.
Yeah, handful. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Mahomes wasn't the last to do it. Didn't Jameis Winston throw for 5,000 last year?
correction, yes, Jameis Winston. I'm sorry, yes, Jameis Winston did it, and Patrick Mahomes. So every year or every other year, we'll probably get a 5,000-yard passer. So it'll be some time, but that record's going to fall too. But that running back record, man, that LT held, hey, that's when it's going. That's when it has some staying power around it for a while. I mean, could I put it in the category about Joe DiMaggio's hit streak? Not as much, but with this being a pass happy league, the running back's gonna get played. But as you said, they're looking for running backs to catch the ball, tight ends to catch the ball, and guys with likes of Derrick Henry, that's the last of a dying breed. No more big Derrick Henry or Brandon Jacobs or Mike Allstott or those kind of guys. They got a big guy named AJ Dillon in Green Bay, but not to the likes of what LT did, because LT was one of the first complete backs of the 21st century. He did it all. He ran the ball and he caught the ball out of the backfield. But yeah, that touchdown record is going to stand for quite some times. So I'm picking LaDainian Tomlinson.
Yeah, that is a really impressive record. You figure if you score once a game, that's 16. You're coming close to doubling that. So that's an amazing record for sure.
Yeah, that is an amazing record. So shout out to Trey Dizzle, Monique Adams, and Joe Gafkin for their participation in this week's Choices of the Voices. Scottie D, what's on tap for next week?
Well, Dak Prescott threw for over 400 yards and rushed for 3 touchdowns on Sunday.
And he was the first to do that, right?
Yeah, I just wanted to talk about the Cowboys' improbable, unbelievable, amazing win on Sunday. And actually, I'll tell you what, we're going to use that to segue into our question of next week. I'm going to ask you, what was the most unbelievable, improbable finish you've ever seen in an NFL game? Actually, you know what? We'll make it college or pro, or if you want, you can give us one of each. Now, when I say the most unbelievable finish or improbable, you can take that and run with it however you want. You can talk about a Hail Mary finish, talk about like a comeback finish, freak play to end the game, whatever. I mean, there's a bunch of different ways you can interpret that, but let's have a little fun with this and think of some things that if you look at some Patriots Super Bowls, there have been some improbable, unbelievable finishes in
that's not necessary. No, it's not necessary. Why?
And for bad, for good and for bad. I mean, I'm just saying.
It's not necessary. You're bringing up old memories again. I told you about this, and then I'm just put in my little point real quick. So something like the Stanford band on the field and getting
that's
ran
the
over.
most absolutely. That's what made me think to add college, because that was the most improbable way to finish a game. It's a bunch of laterals that ends up with running over the tuba player. I mean, that was unbelievable. If you have never seen that, go back and watch that film. I'm sure almost all of our listeners have seen that. The Cal Stanford game for, what was it, like 1982, 83? John Elway led Stanford to a come from behind, what was about to be a win, and then the band was on the field. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Damn band was on the field.
Yeah.
I'm like, what's really happening? I'm like, oh, this is crazy. This is, hey, man, college football. Hey, man, paying attention. And fart is connected. All right. I had to do it. I'll cut that out.
No. We got to find a way to implement that into the show. Like, listeners, hear me out real quick. So we when we record this podcast, we connect using Anchor.fm, and so Anchor has this thing where we put in our nicknames. So whoever, like when we join the call, we put in our nicknames, and it's usually Eddy Kool, the head of creative. He puts in Eddy Kool. Your boy, the Almighty Be Live. I just put that in there. Then you got the Money Man Scottie D. Well, today, for whatever reason, when we're doing the second part of this show, as opposed to putting in the Money Man Scottie D or his real name, Scott Donnelly, whatever, however he wants to call himself today, he just decides to put his nickname as Fart.
Farts are funny.
I joined the call. I joined I joined the podcast for the second part, and I looked down and I almost passed out because I was dizzy because I was laughing that hard.
Yeah.
You almost had to call the ambulance because Scottie D is an entire fool. So, yes, that's the backstory, and I think our listeners need to hear about it one way or the other. If you want to outtake this and put it at the end, I have no problem with that. But our listeners need to know that Scottie D tried to take me out today.
Again.
Again.
Never fails for a cheap laugh. Fart.
I'm telling you, man. Fart jokes and these nuts jokes, they'll never die. Never die.
Those will never die, but Scottie D might kill us on this podcast. I might just go on to see the Lord. I mean, just
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to have a little moment here. The Money Man Scottie D taught me about the importance of levity, having levity to a situation. There's been some situations that I've had in my life recently. It's been tense. It's been thicker than a pot of cold grits in January in northern New Hampshire on top of Mount Washington. But then Scott does something funny, and it's like, you know, I can't be mad no more. I can't even be aggravated no more. You like that line, don't you? Thick like a pot of cold grits in northern New Hampshire on the top of Mount Washington. Yeah, shout out my man Corey Rayner, who lives in Boston, originally from New Hampshire. He sends me some funny gifts, funny memes, man. Keeps me rolling all the time, every time. All right, fellas, it's time to go home. How y'all feel about that? It's time to go home?
Let's do it.
All right, here we go. It's time to go home. Pepper to give me the go home cue. What I'm going to do, I'm going to try to round the bases, not get my cleat stuck on the first base bag, and actually run from one bag to the other. Go for that inside the park home run and try my best not to get thrown out or get put in a headlock by Nolan Ryan. Ready, fellas?
Let's do it.
All right. In typical fashion, you know how we do it. We give you some topics, rapid fire style, kind of, sort of, not really. Intended to inspire, educate, and this third pepper point, get ready for it. All right, so on this day in history, back in 1991, Don Shula, who recently passed away earlier this year, coach of the Miami Dolphins, records his 300th career win as coach of the Miami Dolphins. That's right, the undefeated Dolphins. That guy, Don Shula, the coach, one of the greatest of all times when it comes to coaching in the National Football League. Over to you, Scottie D.
All right. So I was looking on CBS Sports website earlier today, and I came across the story of Treshaun Willis. Treshaun Willis is a 6'6" quarterback for the Washington Demons in Washington, Iowa. And this past Friday night, he led his team to a 41-27 win over the Mount Pleasant Panthers by throwing for 3 touchdowns and rushing for 3 touchdowns. Now, that sounds impressive, but what's really impressive, guys, is that he has one arm. This kid does not have a left hand. And to see this young man, it was cool. They had a couple of Twitter videos to click on, and to watch this kid do his thing, man. You talk about a young man not letting anything slow him down. He's already got an offer from a Division III school in Iowa. I think it's called Loris College to come play. But this kid scored 6 touchdowns or accounted for 6 touchdowns last Friday night and did so with one arm. So congratulations to that kid. I'm sure that's a story that's going to probably end up taking a little bit more national news as the year goes on. But congratulations to that kid. Be Live, over to you.
Wow.
That's pretty damn dope. I know quarterbacks with 2 hands and 2 legs that can't do that.
Right. Wow. Yeah, that needs to hit the national spotlight for real. I had no idea. Scottie D, thank you for inspiring and educating us in a true manner of Pepper. I can tell you this week, I'm not inspiring or educating a damn thing. I'm going to tell you that right now. Dan Quinn, Atlanta Falcons, fired. What? How do you just give to what? Oh boy, Dan Quinn. How do you have a? Oh my goodness, Atlanta, just don't send your jerseys to Goodwill or something, because they'll do better keeping third world country kids warm during the winter months than you wearing these uniforms and doing what you do on the field. Dan Quinn fired. Eddy Kool, the ball.
All right, Pepper Point number 2. This day in history, back in 1993, 46-year-old Nolan Ryan pitches his last game. And if I'm not mistaken, it's the same season he put Robin Ventura in a headlock and went on that head. And ever since then, Robin Ventura will think twice before he mess with somebody uncle, somebody daddy, or somebody granddaddy. Because I bet Nolan Ryan can still throw them things at his age. Over to you, Scottie D.
That was legendary. That of all the Nolan Ryan moments, that was the best. All right. Speaking of baseball, the Yankees. I was talking last week how they had hit the skids late August, early September. They seem to have righted the ship. I was watching a Yankee game the other night, and they hit 5 home runs in a single inning. It was the 4th inning against the Blue Jays last week. In the meantime, the Buccos on Sunday, the starting lineup consisted of 5 players batting under 200. Of the 4 that were over 200, the highest was Eric Gonzalez batting 250. 5 players batting under 200 in your starting lineup. Do better. Do better, please. Be Live, over to you.
Over to you, Be Live.
All right. Yeah. Let's talk about some things real quick. Because Dan Quinn should be fired. But let's go down this roster real quick. See, Julio Jones. He wears number 11. Olamide Zaccheaus wears number 17. Yes, who else is questionable in this play? Let's see who I got here. Jaden Graham, number 87. And Hayden Hurst, number 81. Fired. Fired. Yeah, Julio, you've done amazing things. 300 yards against my beloved Panthers. One of the top wide receivers in the game. Got hands for days, hands for weeks. And yet you sat there and watched this ball in all of its wizardry go 10 yards so the Cowboys could actually get to it. Y'all watched it. This was the slowest onside kick I've ever seen. You are professionals. If anything, here's the peep this right here. If you miss it and they get it, at least you tried. But you had the entire nation watching this game because I had Baltimore Ravens fans mad at me because they couldn't get their game on yet because we were waiting on this game to get over with. And so everybody in the places watching this ball travel 1.7 miles per hour, and all hands Julio Jones and Hayden Hurst fired.
Wizardry.
Fired.
Wizardry from the Cowboys.
Eddy Kool, the ball that you can actually catch.
Woo!
Ooh. Unlike that pass Julio dropped. He dropped the pass. It would have. Anyways, the third and final pepper point. Atlanta Falcons fans, I want you to hang around for this one. Yeah. This is dedicated to you and you and you and you and you. Yeah. So here we go. All right. A couple interesting statistics to take away from this once again epic collapse of the Atlanta Falcons. As we know, it happened in the Super Bowl. Never forget 328. And it also happened just in this very young 2020 season. Not to mention the Cowboys had a nice little turnout at home too. So they had home field advantage. Nice turnout by the Cowboys. I don't know what they're doing in Texas, but they had fans in Jerry World. All right, so I found this via the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, if I'm not mistaken, and he also got a little tidbit of information from the Elias Sports Bureau. Quote, prior to Sunday, NFL teams were 400 and let me try this again. 440-0 when scoring 39 points with no turnovers since turnovers were first tracked back in 1933. The Atlanta Falcons are the 1 in 440-1. Dun, dun, dun. Oh, and it gets better. ESPN Stats, and I quote, ESPN Stats and Information came up with another one and another one. Teams were 1,875-6 when leading by 15 points or more in the final 5 minutes of regulation over the past 20 seasons. The 6, there was a 5 before, the 16, yeah, you guessed it, the Atlanta Falcons, they hit that mark too. They became the 16.
Yes, sir.
Coke Classic. Coca-Cola is made in Atlanta, right?
Yeah.
It should be called Choke Classic.
Yep.
How in the hell does Dan Quinn still have a job? All right, I'm taking. I'm not a betting man, but if I was, I'm betting a pack of peanut butter nabs. Who gets fired first, Matt Patricia or Dan Quinn?
Oh, I think I like Patricia.
Already, because what I say last week, Matt Patricia out of the door by week 5.
Yeah.
This guy won 9 games. Okay, 9 games. The last coach you had took you to the freaking playoffs, Jim Caldwell. You got him the hell up out of there. 2 organizations, and you know what? Can't nobody pick at the Browns right now, because the Browns won. They can't pick at the Browns. So here we go. We got to deal with this mess with the Atlanta Falcons. What the hell is going on? Be live. Just. Scott, I'm sorry, Scott. Here, somebody take that ball. Scott, somebody take it. This is some bull.
All right, let me just change the topic up here just for a quick second. Because, in the past, we've seen fighters seemingly get old overnight. And I think I saw that happen twice this past Saturday in the UFC. Actually, I don't even know if you'd say it happened overnight, but Tyron Woodley lost to Colby Covington on Saturday night. That's his 3rd loss in a row. And in none of those fights did he win a round. We're talking 5-round fights in each one of those. He lost to Gilbert Burns and Kamaru Usman. And Tyron Woodley, I think it might be time to put the gloves away. In another fight, Cowboy Cerrone, he actually didn't lose. He had a draw against Nico Price, but a couple of eye pokes in the first round took a point off of Nico, and that was the result. The result led to a tie that Cowboy would have lost his 5th in a row. I hate seeing fighters get old and not be competitive. Cowboy still gets in there and mixes it up a little bit, but he doesn't have what he used to have. And the last few fights I've seen of Tyron Woodley, he's just been waiting to counterpunch. He gets back into the cage. Just boring fights. My dad fell asleep in the first round. It was after 9:00, so that's not a surprise anyway. But I hate seeing these fighters get old. Dana White afterwards said it might be time to have a talk with both of those guys. So I hope that we see those guys hang it up. It's hard for fighters to do that. In the meantime, this Saturday night coming up, you got Israel Adesanya against Paulo Costa in one of the most anticipated fights in UFC in a long time. I recommend you watching that fight. I can't wait to see that fight. The style bender, Israel Adesanya, putting his title on the line against Paulo Costa. And if it's going to go the way I'm thinking, B-Live, I know you like watching Adesanya fights. I think Adesanya is wise to stay away from Costa because he's a powerful guy. Drag him into the 4th and 5th rounds, and I think he beats him. I think we'll see Adesanya win that fight. B-Live, over to you, buddy.
Oh, man, I just lit up like the 4th of July because I realized that I work in the morning on Saturday. Hey, you know what time it is. Yes.
Get you called in. Mr. Livingston, can you come in and work?
Okay, well, sorry, sir. You can go to hell. We had talked about this God. All right. So my third and final pepper point. I'm gonna switch it up a little bit because I want to build a resume real quick if I could. I want to talk about the accomplishments of this gentleman. This gentleman started his career in football, coaching career in football, as being the defensive coordinator for the United States Military Academy Prep School, 2005-2006. But prior to that, he actually reached the rank of captain in the United States Army after he graduated from West Point United States Military Academy, and he is a veteran of the Iraq War. So much respect to him. In 2007, he was hired by the New York Jets to be a quality control coach. And then in 2013, he was promoted to a coordinator for the Jets. In 2014, the Washington football team hired him as a coordinator, serving under Jay Gruden. After coaching 5 seasons with the football team, he requested and was granted permission to interview with other teams. And this is where I want to lead up to. The Atlanta Falcons announced that Ben Kotwica was hired as their new special teams coordinator on January 9th, 2019. And that is his current job as today as the special teams coordinator for the Atlanta Falcons. Fired!
Wizardry. He had to deal with
Fired! What are you teaching these guys? We're just not doing any reps. You're just going to say, guys, you know what? You let the ball go 10 yards. You don't want to take a chance of not being able to handle the ball that's traveling 1.7 miles an hour. So you want to let it go 10 yards so the other team has a chance to actually touch it without us interfering with the ball at all. That is what my job is to do, is to teach you how to not properly handle an onside kick.
How about them Cowboys?
Ben Kotwica fired. And here's the thing. I hate the Falcons. I'm a diehard Panthers fan. It actually brought me joy to see misery in the Falcons fans' eyes. But man, to lose like that, you just, ooh, man.
Tanking for Trevor, maybe.
Boy. Man, just wow.
Yeah.
Fired. Somebody got to do something, because that was honest to God, watching as much football as I watch and seeing some of the things I've seen, that right there, I'm gonna say it. I think that trumps butt fumble.
You think it does?
I think that trumps butt fumble. I think, Mark Sanchez, you are off the hook.
Wow.
I said it here first, Sports Bros podcast. That trumps butt fumble.
Wow. I ain't got no comeback for that.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to deal with the wizardry of great.
You and this Harry Potter book.
Well, guys, I think I got the title of this week's episode. Will be titled "Wizardry, Skunks, and the Epic Collapse of the Atlanta Falcons, Part 2." So that's it for the Pepper Points, fellas. All right, fellas, before we get up out of here, I forgot something. The Big Ten is back. Real quick, how do we feel about the Big Ten coming back?
All roads lead to Dabo. Be-Life?
Wow. Big Ten, you should be ashamed of yourself. You thought you had your big boy pants on, and you thought us dudes from the South was gonna follow y'all. Get out of here. This is just backpedaling at its worst. What you really thought that we live and breathe football down here in the South? No, you just wow. And the fact that you backpedaled in such a way because you saw that we were going to proceed with the playoff and everything without you, after you tried to deny these kids that wanted to play an opportunity, old bureaucrats can suck on a big fat one. Big Ten, I'm ashamed. Sorry for the guy that's the new lead of the Big Ten, but man, you dropped the ball and you dropped it bad. But I'm thankful that these kids will be allowed to play. And hopefully I get the chance to see Clemson beat Ohio State for the 5th time.
Already, Dabo.
You already know it.
Yep. Ladies and gentlemen, with that being said, this is another episode of the Sports Bros podcast in the book. Yes, we ran a little long, but guess what? You got a lot to listen to. So on your way to work, if you got to drive from Myrtle Beach to Charleston, or from Cleveland to Columbus, or from Columbus to Cincinnati, you got plenty to listen to. Or from Pittsburgh to Butler, Pennsylvania. Yep, you got plenty to listen to. All right, with that being said, before we get up out of here, how can we get in contact with the Sports Bros? I'll tell you, but I'll go last. But Scottie D, how can they get in contact with you?
Facebook, baby, Facebook. You got it.
Facebook with his Wizardry. Be live. Where can they get in contact with you at? Or where can they find you?
Well, I want to ask a quick question real quick. Have we mentioned, because I missed the past couple of shows, have we mentioned about the hire of the new president of the Washington football team?
Yeah,
yes.
Okay, so we get him. So because I know Joe Gaffigan has been asking about that, and that's definitely something that we want to promote as far as like the accomplishments and achievements said team and listening to our listeners. Absolutely. So I definitely want to throw that in there. Well, at this point in time, this is my opportunity to let the listeners know where they can find me, and they can find me in St. Louis. It's been 3 weeks. I had to do it.
By law.
By law, obligation. Nelly, don't come for me. But check this out. You can find me. I know at some point in time, Scottie D has butchered. I heard it the first time. Try where I'm at all the time. But you can find me.
Max Speed Shop?
Max Speed Shop. 482 North Fisher Church Road, right here in Fayetteville, North Carolina. Home of the best beer, burgers, brisket. Oh, you got it. Oh, man. Love it, love it, love it. We have the NFL Sunday ticket at Max Speed Shop. Every single game you want to see, come see your boy. I promise you I'll have it on for you. Also, when it comes to the Sports Bros podcast, you can find us on Facebook, our Facebook Live page. Find us on, we also have a Facebook group, Sports Bros Family. Special quick shout out to Maddie, Ice, Martin, Tracy. That's Scott, the money man, Scottie D's best friend in the world right now. Just these arguments, if you haven't seen them, they are epic. Between him and terrible Pete Talansky. And it's just, it's great. It's pure comedy gold.
It's what's best for business, baby. Business is booming.
Check it out. Hey, also, you can check us on Instagram, Twitter, Instagram Sports Bros Podcast, Twitter Sports Bros PCast. Check out our YouTube page with some of our vintage videos and some of our full episodes. I'm behind on that. I'm gonna pick that back up because the people want to hear us. They want to see us too. But also check out our website, WordPress. We're releasing articles here and there that are near and dear to our heart. Eddy Kool's the head of creative with that, man. I definitely want to give him a quick shout out on his writing ability.
Thank you, sir.
Their website is the sportsbrospodcast.wordpress.com. The sportsbrospodcast.wordpress.com. And if you have any questions, comments about the show, give us your feedback. We feed off of you. This is sports by the fan for the fan. Shoot us an email, sportsbrospcast@gmail.com. Your boy, the Almighty. Yes, sir.
All right, and that leaves me, Eddy Kool, HOC, the head of Creative here at the Sports Bros Podcast. Check us out every Tuesday. Yes, new episodes of the Sports Bros come out every Tuesday. You can check us on all of the podcast platforms. Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify. Not to mention, if you listen to us on Apple Podcasts, go over there and give us a 5-star rating. We don't care if you give us a review where it says all roads lead to Dabo, Scottie D going woo, and fart jokes never get old, and Eddy Kool sings the blues. Just do that and just leave us 5 stars because we greatly appreciate it. Because you know what? The more you leave those 5 stars, the easier it will become to find us on that specific platform of the for podcasts. Also, you can check me out, Kool Season on Instagram, all one word. If you're on Snapchat, Super Kool 5000. I'm on there cooking, being crazy, just talking crazy. Well, no, I'm well behaved, but I'm on there having fun. Check me out there as well, too. And you can also check me out on all the other aforementioned Sports Bros podcast, social media sites as well, too. All right, fellas, it's about time to go watch this game between the Saints and the Las Vegas Raiders in that big old Beautimus Stadium. Eat some chicken and watch some wrestling. Anything to say before we get up out of here?
Shout out to Dougie Fresh, American Ninja Warrior. Check him out on NBC.
B-Live, got anything?
Clemson still is the number 1 team in the country. All roads lead to Dabo. Trevor Lawrence for Heisman. Yes, sir.
And shout out to the 2-0 Coastal Carolina Chanticleers. We're getting a lot of love on ESPN a lot lately. So,
yo, they look good, bro.
They look really
good.
Really, really good. This is their first year in the Sun Belt Conference, too?
I want to say it's their second.
Doesn't matter because guess what? They have a ranked team in Louisiana. So with that being said, it's only a matter of time before the Chanticleers grab a top spot. I don't care if they grab number 22. I'll be happy with that. And in closing, as always, do something nice for yourself. And if you can, do something nice for someone else too. They're greatly appreciated now more than ever, and also be a blessing and not a burden. And with that being said, it's been another episode of the Sports Bros Podcast. And oh yes, mental health does matter. Let's get up out of here, fellas.
Woo! How about them Cowboys?
Coastal Carolina got 1 vote in the AP poll. Oh, they on the map.
They're on the map. B-Live, take us home.
Where am I taking? Where are we going?
You haven't said yes, sir.
Oh, yes, sir.
See what happened? You be off for 2 weeks.
I forgot.
We got to reprogram them. Bye, y'all. See y'all next week.
Later.
Once again, it's time for some more Sports Bros Podcast bloopers, a.k.a. the stuff that didn't make air.
Fart connected.
What in oh my god. I'm dizzy. Oh,
I look over and I was like, the fart connect.
Scott, you literally be trying to take people out, yo. Oh, yo.
I'm like, the money fart connected. I hope it escaped.
Oh my god.
Oh man.
Okay. Oh, hold on. Oh, hold up.
What?
Oh, I need a second. I need a glass of water.
Get your glass of water, man.
I had one, but
oh man.
Ooh, Scott, you can't do that.
Such a simple word, yet so.
Yeah. Things that are still funny 50 years later. These nuts jokes and fart jokes will never die. Never die.